That. Got the couple. Derek Rogers. Invite. You there? Hello? Okay, I see. Is it working? No? All right. Let me share this right. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me, Derek?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I think we just gotta get Daniel in here. I think we're good to go.
So what I'm gonna be switching to, I'm not gonna have, for some reason, it's like I can't get good audio quality unless I take out the video. So my stuff will still be able to go. I just won't be able to see you guys, I think.
Okay. What are you talking about?
I'm going, like, I don't know if it's lagging me out or whatever, but
I'm trying to share this.
I need to just go, I just need to go audio, I think.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we just go audio. Maybe we just go audio for this one. Let me see. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you.
Okay. So I just want audio if you want to take off your camera.
Okay.
You just hit the camera button.
Okay.
Hey, Daniel. You there?
Hey, sweet.
All right. So that works.
Deal.
Works. Cool. All right. So, all right, cool. I think I got it. I got the hang of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was way harder than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like most things when you just kind of like go through it for the first time, it's always like tough and you just don't know what you're doing. And then
Yeah. Are we currently live right now?
yeah, we're currently live right now. I'm just trying to share it to everybody and then we can go.
Deal.
All right, let's figure this out now.
I might just hold this myself.
Are you using a webcam?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to? Would it be easier to?
Maybe it's just easier.
Click my face off.
Yeah, maybe it's just easier.
Deal.
Yeah. Let's see if that works. I just want to get it to work, and then we can just kind of go from there.
Perfect.
All right. All right. So,
I'm sorry.
is the link that you share basically at the top of the page, or is there like a quick share button somewhere?
So if you go to,
should be I can do like a Bitly or something.
So you might have to go to the actual live stream.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yep. I see it. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
My bad, guys. I hate the sound.
No, you're good.
That's fine.
The pop filter keeps falling off.
It's the loud shrieking that we can't stand.
Yeah. Well, I can't promise I won't do that. So. All right. It might have finally worked. This is America.
All right. Should be going good now. By the way, the picture I used, I love that picture. Is that from your wedding?
I put myself on mute, so it's time making that noise. That is not from my wedding. That is from one of my best friend's weddings. That was his best man.
Cool.
Yeah. And they were like, make a surprise face. I was like, absolutely.
Yeah. Let me tag you.
Go ahead.
There we go.
Oh, dude.
I appreciate your patience. Thank you, Daniel.
Oh, you're fine.
All right. Yeah, I was trying to troubleshoot this earlier, but you get there when you get there. All right. So are we going to do no video? Is that cool?
You make the shots.
Yeah,
You
I
call
think
the
if it's going to be the easiest right now, I mean, we could do that. Whatever we want to try to push it. You know, it's like if we want to do that, that could work. But
Yeah,
I'm good with either. I don't know why the video feed was messing my stuff up, but now I can hear you guys really clear. So
same here.
Okay. Let's just do no video for now. I mean, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out eventually.
yeah, well, it'll be something I think we can mess with, especially with stuff that Dan pointed out. I think it'll be some good to mess around with.
Deal, and I will record my audio from this end for the actual podcast.
All right, I'm going to test real quick. Testing. You guys talk.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing over here, Manassas, Virginia.
All right, let me hear.
Straight out of H-Town.
Can you let me know if can you guys hear this?
Actual podcast.
All right, I'm going to test real quick. Testing. You guys talk.
Yeah. Oh,
Here,
I could hear.
testing 1, 2, 3.
Test.
Oh, mine's.
All right, can you guys hear that? That's good.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I heard an echo of myself.
Yep. Should have been.
Okay.
All right, let me get go. We're good to go. Oh, I got to bring up the. Daniel, do you want a copy of our show notes, or do you kind of want to go into this thing? Kind of.
Is it what you emailed me?
No.
I'm down for. Yeah, I'll send them over. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it. And then, of course, like whoops, wrong one. Email. Of course, like it's for us. Like show notes are more of just like a kind of a way we flow.
More like guidelines.
Guidelines.
Gotcha.
And we're really more of a conversationalist podcast, but yeah.
Over instruction.
Yeah, over instruction. We're not smart enough for that. Okay. Sent.
Where to?
I sent to your email. To your it's a Google Doc. It's a Google Doc.
Got it.
All right, sounds good. All right, I'm ready to start the show. Let's get the show on the road.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. Now, just got to bring up the music. We're ready to go. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bad Catholic Dads. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bad Catholic Dads. I'm one of your hosts, John Perez. Of course, joining me, as always, the doctor, Derek Rogers. Derek, how you doing?
Oh man, it was such a beautiful day, and it looks like it's going to be a great evening and a great episode.
I'm really excited.
I'm excited too.
One of the things we promised all of our we got to a year worth of podcasts, which we're really super proud of. But I think one of the most important things was being consistent with the podcast, and we've done that. And so we promised all our listeners for more guests, and boy, do we have a great one today. Please welcome to the show, one half of That Catholic Couple, Daniel Glaze. Yay!
Who is going to introduce the actual guest, my wife? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey!
Real twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just for the intro.
Yeah. How's it going, Daniel?
It's going well. My wife is cooking one of my favorite meals, Italian meatballs, Whole30 style. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to go grub.
Nice. How's that? How's the Whole30 going for you guys?
So we actually finished it. We did it for Lent.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and we're probably actually so we did it for Lent, and then we moved, and our eating has completely gone down the drain. So we're gonna start that back up probably actually next Monday. Now that I think about it. So yeah, I actually love Whole30.
Overall, what was your experience of it? Did you find was it a struggle? Did it get easier as you went, or kind of what?
All of that. Yeah. So it was. I'm okay. I mean, we've talked about this on our channel, but I hate fad diets. I think they're some of the dumbest things on earth. But my wife was like, "Hey, so there is this awesome thing that a bunch of our friends are doing. Would you please give it a try with me?" And I said, "Absolutely." And the cool thing about Whole30 is they actually give you a timeline on what your body and what you should expect to feel like while being on Whole30. And it was down to a T. So we were able to prep everything our body, mentally we were able to say, okay, now we're going to feel like crap. Now we're going to feel great. Now we're going to feel like what we should give up. And at the end, to make this whole story, sum it up, It was amazing. I lost 30 something pounds in less than 30 days.
Oh my gosh, dude.
My memory got better. My energy was so high. It changed. It made me a better person.
That is awesome. That's great. Good to hear that. Daniel, again, thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate it. I know it's so funny when I wanted you to, because basically what happened is, or for listeners, what happened is about a year ago, I was looking through my emails about July. There was a bunch of people that I wanted to have on the show, and including Daniel of That Catholic Couple. Funny story, by the way, side story, as this is how I found you guys, right? So I'm on, so about a year ago, around this time, I'm thinking of and praying about starting something, some sort of community or ministry for Catholic dads, for us to get together, talk about kind of our shared Catholic fatherhood. And I decided to create that, hence Bad Catholic Dads, right? I'm on Patreon, and I'm like, I wonder if there are any other Catholic, media, content creators, basically, because I did not know anything. I knew about Catholic speakers. Of course I knew about, Ascension Press and Father Mike Schmitz and Bishop Barron, but I didn't know, if there were kind of quote unquote everyday, Catholic content creators. And so I just searched up Catholic on Patreon and started there, and there's a bunch of them. And it's but I was trying to scroll through them, and then I found That Catholic Couple, and I was like, that's really interesting and really awesome idea. But basically, we get here, and about a year ago, I emailed you to come on the show, and you're like, yeah, let's do it. And then I never got back to you.
Life happened.
Life happens. Part of the whole thing. We were trying to get consistent with the show, at least show up every single week. I mean, Daniel, consistency is key, right?
Absolutely. So don't worry about it.
But hey, we're here, and we're so glad to have you. We basically want you on the show because we were, I had this chat last week. I was saying, there's so many different Catholic fathers out there. We all come with our different experiences. We all come with our, different wounds and different, battle scars and kind of the ups and downs of being what it means to be a Catholic dad in today's world. And, I think you have a great story, although I got to admit, I don't know the full story here, which we're going to get into today.
Fair enough.
But we're very glad to have you. So
thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. So we have this kind of show notes, and again, we're more of a conversationalist podcast. And so, but I think whenever we have guests, I think we're always like, hey, what's, tell us about yourself, a little bit how, where you're from, what was it like growing up in the faith, and did your parents have a huge role in the faith, and kind of, now kind of your vocational story, basically.
Yeah. So, born in Indiana, but I say that I'm from Austin,
Okay.
Texas. And yeah, growing up, yeah, that's let me try to do all of my life in a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main
Exactly.
challenge.
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up in Austin, but before it became like what Austin is now, like I grew up when like some of the roads that are like highways now were just dirt roads. So I grew up in Austin, to a devoutly Catholic family. I was the youth group kid growing up partly because my father was the youth minister, so kind of had to be.
Wow, cool.
Yeah,
That is-
my father was a youth minister for about 25 years. And at times he was my youth minister and at times he wasn't, but
Were you excited, like when you were a kid growing up, were you excited to join that ministry because I mean, I'm a youth minister right now and my daughter is 6, you know, and we always joke about what it would be like. But was that like something you were excited for?
Actually, yeah. I'm kind of the as my wife would say, like too confident that I absolutely love my family. Like I'm proud of who I am and where I came from, and now with my family, who I've produced and what I've partly played a part in producing. And like I absolutely had there's nothing that embarrasses me really. And like the fact that I did not have that cliche, like, oh my gosh, my parents are involved in my life kind of phase. Like I never had that problem. It was interesting though that you bring that up because I'll never forget like the amount of I guess hate is probably the right word that my father received at one parish that I was a part of, from like some of the students and from some of the parents of those students. And it was I don't think a lot of people have that view of like being the son of the person involved in parish life who's in charge of faith formation for high school, like get berated. Like it was such an interesting like
for what reason?
Paradox.
Why?
Probably just for my dad being my dad
okay.
It was a very rich parish. And if I remember, it was some sort of like one of the cliche things of like, you made my son do another, like actually do his service project for confirmation.
Right.
And it's like, I'm just asking you to do what's required. So like, it wasn't anything like horrible. It was just rich people being upset.
Sure. So you were on the in and in, so you kind of heard I guess because your dad was the youth minister, you heard it all. Like I'm assuming.
Partly, my dad did a good job of like not ensuring that I knew everything, but like just enough to know like what to expect and what was actually like going on. But like I never was with him on retreats aside from when like families came. He didn't really and it's kind of funny, like aside from like quote unquote secretive retreat things, there's not much that there's to hide in youth ministry, or like what there is to like not know about the faith. But yeah, so I mean, I kind of knew like what to expect specifically for parish life because I ultimately ended up becoming youth minister myself.
Yeah, that is awesome, because when I was looking at some videos that you guys put out, I'd seen that you guys had mentioned that. My question is to kind of continue that. Was your youth ministry dad different than your at home dad?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So,
because I'm just curious on that, because sometimes, you know, as a youth minister, there's times where you're feeling like really, I don't know, maybe not all in the moment, but you have to act like you are like full of energy. You have to come at it with the energy. But, you know, sometimes when you go home, you're like, man, I gave all I could. I'm completely wiped out. And I'm just curious how your dad was in those two situations.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously like he wasn't necessarily the youth group dad at home, but he definitely was the same person.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like telling me to like, okay, guys, now we're gonna bring out the prayer candles before we eat our dinner. Like he wasn't doing like that, but he was definitely the same person. And I will say that he my mother definitely knew how to be a wife of a youth minister, because when my dad would come back from a 4-day retreat,
right,
and he would come home on Monday, like after school, I'd be like, okay, Dad, let's go play like basketball. And my dad's like, I can't right now.
Yeah.
Like, and my mom really knew how to be like, Daniel, like he needs to recover so he can actually do his job later.
Right.
So yeah, and there's other stuff that we can get into later, and I still don't know how to talk about it in the world yet.
Sure.
But during his time in youth ministry, yes, he was the same person on and off the microphone.
Yeah,
So
And real quick, I just wanted to just ask, were you the only sibling, or do you have other brothers, sisters?
I have a younger brother that's about 5.5 years younger than me.
Okay. Did he have this kind of same experience growing up too, where it sounds like your family was really close and your faith was unchanged, even with your dad in ministry and at home? Like, was he about the same?
No, actually. So something that I don't know if I'm actually legally allowed to say, or that makes it sound way worse than it actually was. that came out way worse than it actually was.
Come on, you're not embarrassed by anything. Just say it on the podcast.
Well, it's more so of like for my family's sake.
Oh, okay. Okay,
yeah,
never mind. That's serious.
But that also made it sound like it was even worse than it really is.
Sure.
Because like it was nothing like huge, but like long story short, let me just I'll try to sum it up.
Yeah.
My dad got involved with somebody died, right, for the parish and left his entire estate to the church, and the pastor put him in charge of that. And a lot of stuff went down that made my dad look really bad, even though he didn't do it.
Okay.
And like it really, really hit my dad really hard. Like to the point where I believe he was semi-depressed for the next like 7 to 8 years, which were the 7 to 8 years that my brother like was from like middle school to high school. So my dad, and in no way am I saying like, is my dad like a bad person or anything like that? Sure. But it was more so of like, he got affected real hard from a specific instance that the spiritual leader that I had when I grew up wasn't necessarily the same one that my brother received. Okay. So
yeah. And it's difficult when you work in that parish too, because you take things personally because you're trying to lead like in a leadership way, but also spiritually. And it's how sometimes that can attack you. It really affects you. Okay. That's really interesting.
And it also taught me as a youth minister to like be, am I allowed to cuss on the podcast? No.
Is it a PG?
Not one of those podcasts. Yeah.
Okay.
Alternative curse words. Alternative curse words.
I can
exactly. Yes. Well, no, I understood how to deal with all of the bull crap.
Yeah.
That comes with the bureaucracy of the church.
And you got to see it, firsthand with that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Sure. So you're in. Can you talk about a little bit about your faith in high school and then going into college and really just like I'm interested to know like basically how you got from the son of the youth minister to meeting your wife and kind of what's happening today, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically in high school, I was 100% the youth group kid, but I also played lacrosse and I was really good at it. So, but I was also on the step team. So I kind of had like hand in like the artist world or like the artsy world plus the athletic world plus like the Catholic world. Yeah. So I'm kind of like a boss,
yeah, kind of like a cool guy. Yeah.
I was able to honestly like kind of like infiltrate a bunch of different different segments of high school that like a normal person really wouldn't be able to. Sure. But so then I got a lacrosse scholarship my first year of college.
Nice.
And it was really cool because I actually gave a talk like this a couple of days ago about my college career. Well, specifically my story, because like I went into college expecting it to be something that it ended up not being at all. Because the first year I was the president of the Catholic club, I was helping out at a local parish. Like I was doing kind of essentially everything that I envisioned I would do. And then I ended up leaving that school and turned 21. And then I found alcohol, and then alcohol found me almost every weekend after I turned 21. I did not drink until I turned 21. And I kind of joked that like I made up for it within the first year of turning 21. Because it got to be drinking every weekend, hooking up every weekend, and like really steeping myself within the hookup culture. And it kind of like prodigal Sonny, where like, right when I got alcohol, I was like, okay, God, like give me everything that was promised to me, and I'm going to go off and I was about to say go eat with the pigs, but that made it sound like I was being like sexist, and I didn't mean it that way. But like, yeah, no, I went off and I drank and I hooked up, and I thankfully did not get into any hard drugs, but like it was just kind of the typical cliche college life that like I kind of dived into. And then through a intro level theology of the body course that my friend signed me up for,
your friend signed you up for it?
Yeah, like I knew what it was. Like, because in no way did I ever like, because I was living like this dual life. I was like going to mass hungover every Sunday and still like being a part of like the quote unquote Catholic culture without actually like living it. And so like I had friends within the Catholic realm at my college, excuse me, at my college. And he's like, hey, so I signed you up for it because I need another guy and I know that you're outgoing, so go check it out. And I was like, deal. through that and an actual real encounter with the living Christ, I don't use the word reverted because I feel like that doesn't make sense because I already had a faith, but like I deepened my faith in a way that was real. And then the last couple of years of college, I just learned a lot of things and ended up becoming a youth minister. And then during that time, one of my really good friends moved into the same apartment complex that I did. And his girlfriend at the time was Ana Perez, who ended up becoming my wife. No overlap, guys. No overlap.
Yeah.
You've probably seen the video. So, yeah, I mean, we ended up becoming like best friends and they broke up. God called me to pursue her and I didn't stop.
Wow. In that time of like where you mentioned quote unquote reverting back to the Catholic faith, was it crucial that I mean I don't know the whole story, but was it crucial that did your dad know about the lifestyle that you were like participating in, and if he didn't know it, if you hit it, was that crucial in that development time that he wasn't involved, where you can kind of have that relationship with Christ on your own? Like how did that play out in your family?
That's a good question. So this is where I don't know how to talk about it without.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make it. Essentially, a situation went down in my family between myself, my parents, and my younger brother that made me view my family, specifically my parents, in a completely different light.
Okay.
That I essentially kind of turned away from investing in a relationship with them. And during that time, was towards the middle part of that, like living in the culture, or the hookup culture. And even before that, like, because I went to school nowhere near my family, so I could easily hide it. So to answer your question, I never had a chance to even tell him about it until years later.
Got you. Okay. I was just curious, like with that duality of youth minister and also being a dad, and like, that it seemed such a amazing time for you to like, your heart was open for Christ to come into it at that point. And it seemed like that was perfect timing to meet your wife.
Yeah, so true.
How long have you guys been married now?
It'll be 3 years on the 30th of this month.
Nice.
We fun fact here, we share the same anniversary.
Nice.
Wait, is it the same year? It is.
Yeah, 2015. Is that right?
Oh, that's awesome. That's so dope.
The new Catholic couple. Look at that.
I thought that was awesome. Like, I think I watched one of your videos where you guys talked about like your anniversary. I was like, this is awesome.
That's so dope.
I feel like we're cut from the same cloth here. I want to kind of hit back on, you finding your faith again, because a kind of a similar thing happened with me too. You get to college and the college culture hits you, and it really does challenge your faith. Right now I'm a theology teacher at a high school. I teach a lot of juniors, and I tell them, you're like, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's when you guys get to college, your faith will be tested. And really it's the things you're experiencing, things you take from your faith right now, that's going to be your bedrock, and then it's got to be strong. You got to have foundation. But for you, and even for me, like, this is just from my experience, because I went through that, and then I found my faith again, I felt like for the first time really in my entire life, I chose my faith for myself. For you, was it kind of a similar situation where you found your faith again, or you reverted back to your faith, quote unquote? Was it much more powerful for you to do that on your own, making that decision on your own?
Definitely. And I think that's partly why it deepens so quick, was because of the personal choice of like understanding that the living Christ like died for me, and then I have to deal with the fact that my sin put him up there. And I've been sinning and lying to myself for the past, well, not now, obviously, like during the point of metanoia, of knowing that like I have been abusing him. I've been abusing his body and other bodies, essentially the same thing at that point. And it was definitely something that I don't know if I could have been dragged or led to it. Like it had to be an actual encounter, not necessarily on my own terms, but basically on my own terms.
Oh yeah, 100%. Anything else, Derek, you want to talk about?
I was just gonna ask too, like your faith. your wife's faith, Anna's faith, at that point, like, was it on par or high? Like, how do you, I don't know, compare the two faith lives that you had when you had met her and, got engaged and right to married? Like, was this a helping each other get to the faith, or was this a, mutual, you were on kind of the same wavelengths of what was going on in your lives?
I would say, and I hope my wife doesn't kill me for hearing this, but I would say that I was definitely ahead.
Okay.
Specifically because the way that the relationship between her and her boyfriend at that time wasn't the most holy. And her conversion happened really, really soon to us becoming friends, like within months. And her once again, and her deepening of her faith was also like a quick radical deepening because she got called to become a focused missionary. And so it went me kind of being ahead, I guess. And then once she became a focused missionary, we had to part ways because of the dating fast. And within that was a challenge on her end, not necessarily like I challenged her, but like it was a challenge on her end to say, okay, like I need to, because we both knew that we were going to, I honestly knew that I was going to marry her like the moment that God revealed it to me. And I think she knew that too. So during the dating fast, we both understood that it was like, we needed to become as holy and as best as we can for the sake of and at that time we were lying, like for the sake of our potential future spouse, but we knew it was each other. And so like once like the dating fast ended, it was definitely a kind of like, okay, we're neck and neck, like let's do this thing together.
Was that a quick process of the dating fast ends and you guys, she comes back, or because
sorry, what?
Sorry, I'm saying because she probably got sent somewhere. I think that I don't know 100% how Focus works, but they usually send you to a college or a campus. But her dating fast ends, and really, that's, I believe it's like a year long, right, Daniel, or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Yeah, the first year. Yeah, so
how fast did things move from there?
So there's a joke within Focus that a lot of the missionaries don't like to admit, but it's the 669. Okay. So you date for 6 months, you're engaged for 6 months, and then you give birth. I was all backwards. That was all weird. You're engaged for 6 months. No, you date for 6 months, you get engaged for 6 months, and then and then you give birth 9 months later because you're engaged. And we hit that almost to a T.
Nice.
Her dating fast ended at the end of May, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend 1 week later, and then I proposed June, July, August, September, October, 5 months later.
Okay.
And then we got married October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, 8 months later. And then we conceived 2 months after 2 weeks after we got married.
Wow. So that is exciting. So you have one child?
Yes, one little 2-year-old, Lily Michelle.
Oh,
man. When's her birthday? Well, like you don't have to give the whole thing, but
St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, May 17th.
Very nice.
Almost a year. That's so funny. I didn't catch that until right now. That's good. Almost a year from our wedding date.
Perfect. I definitely want to get into this, talking about kind of what you guys are doing today, but so much of kind of the everyday, I think of, and you're probably gonna hate me for saying this, but I think of LeBron, right? Like LeBron,
all right, guys, we will see you tomorrow. This is a great podcast.
Well, I was gonna say, right, like if you look at LeBron, right, he's obviously great basketball player.
Oh, for sure.
But I think one of my favorite things about LeBron is how hard he works. You follow him on Instagram, you see how hard he works every single day. He's in the gym,
especially in the playoffs, right?
But anyway, here's my point. Every single day we have to come to, we have to show up as fathers, right? Like that's kind of our vocation, that's our calling. For you, you being a husband, you being a father, and we have, a couple years of experience now at this point. For you, what does the daily look like for you? Like, for you trying to raise your family in the faith, trying to bring your daughter into the faith, trying to lead your wife to heaven. What is that like? What for you, especially for other fathers who are out there who are listening to this podcast, what is your key to trying to juggle all of that?
Yeah. So it's really interesting now because at this point, our 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 marriage and our roles have completely just they've been fluid, almost the not our gender but our roles have been so fluid since we've been married, because I was the primary breadwinner and now Anna technically is, because I'm working on our video agency, like, and I hopefully one day like that'll become the main breadwinner. But yeah, like it's so interesting. And I've always thought the phrase like getting your spouse to heaven as just being like so cliche.
Sure.
And no way am I saying like I can't believe you asked me that, but it's such an interesting phrase because it seems so broad, right? Like it's of course I'm trying to get my wife to heaven, like
Sure.
duh. It's more so of like finally recognizing that it's within the day to day, it's within the details and the discussions and the decisions that we make that all need to be soaked in prayer, all need to be soaked in like where we believe God's will is calling us to, and if that aligns with our will, and if it doesn't, then what do we do? And because right now I'm at home, I'm the one raising the kid because why? Because I'm working on our agency from home while my wife goes and does her 9 to 5, and that was something that I never anticipated happening as a 28-year-old husband of one, husband of obviously one, father of one,
Yeah.
husband of three, I'm now Mormon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the understanding that I need to find the details and know that, like, if I'm not praying, if I'm not like being led by Christ, then my family won't. And ensuring that, like, and also giving my wife time to do that, because now that my wife works all the time, I have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to give of myself a little bit more outside of the time that I normally would, so you can go be with him. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a job right now as well to kind of, because we're also trying to get into debt. So like, not only does the spiritual side have, like, not only do I need to worry about the spiritual side, but also the protecting them and providing for them.
Yep.
Yeah, there's just, man, I love it, but it's also the hardest thing in the world.
I would imagine it's a little bit difficult now too, because you just moved, right?
Oh, literally last weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I can imagine that there's so many different emotions up because you're in a new spot, although you're back to Texas, right? So
we've never left.
Okay.
Back to Houston. From Austin.
Back to Houston. Got you.
Back to Houston, yeah.
Got you. But that's got to be so difficult too, because just with balancing all that, and I mean, for me, I can imagine myself getting overwhelmed in a situation that you're explaining of I'm losing sight of, if I lose sight of prayer, I start floundering more. And especially with the new surroundings, it's really tough. Is there a specific prayer or just practice that you've been doing to keep your spiritual side like solid during this time?
Honestly, no. Like,
you just been keep going with what you've just kind of done.
Well, and this is where you'll learn. Like, I am very honest. Like, I have lost my prayer life through this entire move. Like, it has been so crazy. It's been so like unstable that like I can't find the routine yet to get back into the rhythm of prayer. And like even trying to find 15 minutes a day has been the hardest freaking thing. And luckily, like I don't know if you're familiar with Adore, but we live, Adore is a missionary group here in Houston, and we live near some of the missionaries there, and we're friends with some of them. So they've been awesome to like essentially take us in as their own. And like I have males that are like are friends of mine now. They're like, I know that you're struggling right now, but let us be your backbone. Let us be your accountability right now. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, honestly, no, my prayer life is absolutely sucked within the past 3 weeks. And I don't know where to go from here.
The great thing is, like you mentioned, you have like, I mean, to have holy, men like other Catholics that are, like you said, with the missionaries there, like that's awesome that you have that and you're aware of that too, because I know a lot of people struggle. Like they're like, I have no idea where to go. Like no one's got my back. And it sounds like God is taking care of you through those things, and that's really awesome.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And we moved from a place where I anticipated having really good male friendships,
Mm.
and it did not end up happening.
Mm.
And that's kind of vague, but it was more so of we moved to a place where a bunch of our old college friends were there, and we anticipated it to be this awesome, like fruitful community, and it wasn't. And I think that also plays into part why I have been struggling, because I've been essentially trying to fend for myself when it comes to not like I've been fending for myself and trying to like be a man without a community, and that's really hard to do.
Oh yeah.
And now that I have that, I normally like this happens to me a lot because I've actually been in a huge desolation spot since Easter. We talked about it on one of the live streams after Easter. Like I go to prayer every single time, and there is nothing. Like literally nothing. My friends are like, "Well, it's probably peace." I'm like, "No, I know peace. This is darkness. This is like nothing."
Sure.
And like I think that also plays into like there's just like all these different factors of just coming in. Like since I feel nothing, I'm like, well, since I feel nothing, I can skip a day, you know, like, and I shouldn't do that at all when it comes to this point. Like I should probably go more. And yeah, it's just like all of this like culminating into what we're doing now. It's a lot.
Yeah. Let's I'm so curious. So you get married, right? Like, and that Catholic couple happens. And so,
Yeah.
Like, how does that, like, how did you guys come about it? And like, whose idea was that? It's probably your idea, right? Like,
definitely, actually.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
But how did it come about? And like, just, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been a YouTube head since I knew YouTube was a thing. I actually have been on YouTube since like 2010, but all those videos are completely not existent anymore. And I remember when we got engaged, I went on YouTube. I was like, I wonder if there's any kind of like Catholic couple out there that's talking about their life, talking about their marriage.
Your brain was rolling at that point too. Nice.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Wow,
yes.
looking ahead like that. That's cool.
Honestly, yeah. And I was like, okay, let me go see, because like I love vlogging and I love like being a part of someone's life, even though I have no idea who they are in real life. But I wanted to see something that, well, and then when I went to go look for it, the only thing I found was Church Militant and Bishop Barron. And I love Bishop, but man, sometimes like it's boring. But don't get me wrong, he's an intelligent man and I love what he does.
Yeah.
And Church Militant is just wacko crazy. And yeah, so I was like, okay, there was nothing there for what I was searching for. And we kind of like put it on the back. I kind of put that, I put that aside, like, okay, cool, like crap, I couldn't find anything. And I remember I was talking with Anna about this while we were engaged, and I was like, would you just want to like vlog our engagement and kind of like let that be a story for people to see? And Anna was like, let me think about that. And after we talked about it for a while, we were like, you know, it's a good idea, but if we broke up, this would be a really weird video channel, like a really weird channel. And I was like, that's a good idea. Yeah. So we kind of never talked about it again. And then that idea of like starting a YouTube channel just kind of kept tugging on us. And I remember one night I did an entire Google document, like 5 pages of like what our channel would look like, and just ideas and different things and different topics and all that, like potential names, potential taglines, potential themes, potential target audiences, potential everything. And when I brought it to Anna, she was like, no. She's like, we're not doing it. I can't. I don't want to do it at all.
That's awesome.
And then after once again praying about it for a little bit longer, she was like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's do it.
What was her? What was the tipping point for her?
Me continually asking her.
Okay.
Keep knocking, the door will open. Yeah.
Well, and I will definitely say I think the Holy Spirit had some sort of guidance with her of being with her prayer life of like, just give him a chance, like it'll work out.
Yeah, sure. Donut Squad, hashtag Donut Squad. Well, number one, before we get to that, what were some of the names that you guys were throwing out there?
So I have to go back because we made a video somebody called us something in the comments and I was like, I like that, but it doesn't stick.
Okay.
So we like kind of issued a challenge of like, do y'all have like a name for us or like a name for you guys? Because like there's some names coming up that I think like that they keep popping up in the comments I think would be good, but like I want to see what like people have if we challenge them. And somebody commented or somebody I think messaged us on Twitter. Actually, we didn't have Twitter then, on like, or emailed us like, what if we were called the Donut Squad?
Yeah.
And that was before like the whole idea of calling your audience a squad was cliche and like kind of boring. And I was like, I love that. Last name Glaze.
Yeah.
We talk about donuts, like it works perfectly. So we ended up calling it the Donut Squad, and it stuck.
It just stuck.
Yeah,
that's awesome. What were some of the names for that? Like other than that,
yeah,
we were going with
that Catholic crew.
Catholic crew. Nice.
Yeah, that Catholic crew. Oh, I have to go. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Well, that's good enough, I think.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah. So YouTuber, right? Content creator, influencer, all kind of a lot of names here. But as a business, can you speak to those things? Trying to, well, even we're going to get to kind of your new thing that you're trying to promote. But for your YouTube, how do you get from YouTuber to content creator to now trying to run, I guess, quote unquote, a business out of it? You know.
Yeah. So honestly, a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
We've got for, I don't even know how to say this, but like, I wish we were bigger, but not like in a vain way. I don't know if that's possible. Because we have about 8,000 subscribers now. And like, it is a rich community full of young Catholic married couples, and obviously a few other ones that aren't, that like really identify with the idea of reaching sainthood together. And that kind of goes back into what I was talking about with fatherhood of us like really trying to share with them just the daily boring fun stuff that we do, of like, this counts as helping each other get to heaven. And it seems to really be resonating with an audience. And I also think that like my wife's personality and my personality have a lot to do with that. And the fact that our kid is freaking adorable. But yeah, it's really been interesting seeing this whole thing grow. Because so we gave a talk at one of the local area youth conferences, and they asked us to speak about social media, and they asked us to send in a bio, and we haven't ever made like a bio specifically for that Catholic couple. And we did. And we realized after like putting all of our accolades and all of our stuff together, we were like, oh my gosh, we've done so many things, a ton of things.
Yeah. And
it was kind of cool to kind of see like all of that kind of come to head and be like, okay, let's take a step out of the boat real quick, and let's kind of create something, specifically talking about our video agency, that might be able to help. I'm not going to say smaller, I'll say other creators who are looking to do high quality, good video content, specifically for YouTube.
Sure. I don't know if it's hard to talk about that Catholic couple without talking about your new thing, but for you, what's the ultimate goal for that Catholic couple? And then on the flip side, what has been the biggest struggle for that Catholic couple?
Yeah. So I would say the ultimate goal for that Catholic couple is to become the #1 subscribed to a Catholic channel on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I honestly don't.
Yes.
Well, that's a lie. I do care about numbers, only because, and I'm a huge proponent of this. Like, if you're going to use a medium, use it right and use it well, especially if it's for building up the kingdom or evangelization or all that stuff. So do I want us to be successful on this platform? Absolutely. Does my happiness and my identity fall on that? Not even close. But I guess like not the abstract, but like the goal for this channel is to go beyond the comment section, right? Like, I want to be able to find a way to create a community of young Catholic married couples that like having fun, that want to create a community both on and offline and want to reach sainthood together. And I want to be able to find a way to do all of that off our channel. I want to be able to meet our audience, and I want our audience to be able to meet each other and create communities amongst themselves that basically says like, we're trying to have fun. We're trying to build community and reach sainthood with a community outside of this YouTube channel. Like, that's what I want. I want to be able to reach outside of this channel and like to be able to help impact young Catholic married couple communities.
Yep. What's been the biggest struggle for you guys?
Oh yeah, good question. I forgot about that. The biggest struggle has ironically been within the Catholic world. There seems to be, and I honestly believe that like I kind of probably play into this a little bit as well.
Yeah.
There seems to be this like unnecessary competition between like different Catholic YouTube channels, and that's partly why I also want to make this agency, and that's specific partly why we also have that Catholic couple, is because like we're really trying to. We have such an amazing story and salvation that we need to be able to tell it together and forever. And I really want to be able to find a way to join forces with everyone to allow us to heighten and make the Catholic YouTube culture credible in the eyes of the YouTube culture. That's kind of been the biggest struggle, is like even just or just like the whole idea of like Catholic trolls. Like that's a whole other struggle that comes into mind. But and I would honestly say the biggest struggle is trying to find the correct balance and tone between voyeurism and authenticity on media.
Yeah. You talked about it a little bit. What's the new thing? What's the new hot thing you got going on?
Oh, nice. Yeah. So our new thing is Donut Shop Media. Shop is spelled SHOPPE because Donut Shop, the regular spelling was taken. So
is that why? Yeah, that's awesome.
That's partly why. Also because I just like the old German spelling of shop.
Yeah.
It's an online video agency focused on telling fresh stories. Fresh is a play on donut. Yep. And our mission is to bridge the understanding between the Catholic Church and YouTube.
Very nice. And what's the next step here for Donut Shop Media?
Honestly, is relaunching our Patreon page.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to get more equipment. We need to get more. I want to bring on some part-time folk to help with video editing and producing videos.
Nice.
And I ultimately want to get an office that insider scoop. I want to call it the Donut Shop, just because I think that'd be so dope. It's like to build this brand out, to build it up, but not just for the sake of the brand, but for the sake of like making YouTube a place for Catholic creators to be, so we can talk about Christ in a real way.
That's awesome. Anything else, Derek? Do you have any questions before we get into some of our kind of listener questions
the way Dan was talking about that, do you this is kind of just a throwback. Have you ever heard of the guy, he was called the Donut Man or whatever? And he would do like these Protestant like kid songs. Like he was this guy that always would teach lessons about Christ, and they called him the Donut Man. And he had this stuffed animal donut thing that would always talk, and the tunes were catchy, but it was like the Donut Man. he was okay, but the donut was creepy as all heck. So I would just, when you do the Donut Shop,
oh my gosh, I just looked it up. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Oh my gosh.
You never heard, oh my gosh, isn't that awesome? But when you said it, I haven't thought about that in years, and when you said that, I was like, I had a flashback of the freaky donut. So don't have a donut like puppet.
Oh my gosh, there's a whole thing called the donut hole. That is hilarious.
You know what? You might be able to recharge that branding, and
I should make an entire parody of it.
You should, man. You could totally do it. Wear that outfit, right?
I would. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm so happy you told me about it.
That's awesome.
That's the Holy Spirit, man. The Holy Spirit wanted you to know about that because it brought
yes,
up.
he did.
All right, let's get to some of our questions here, and Derek, you and I can just take turns. Well, I think we already asked that question, but who are some of your biggest influencers in your life, whether they're Catholic, non-Catholic, whether they're on YouTube or not?
Yeah, so I would say the number one influence on my life would happen to be Michael Jackson. I learned every part. I used to be a professional competitive hip hop dancer growing up.
You did step, right? In high school, did you
say? That was
okay.
kind of the gateway into it. But I've always known how to dance. And that's partly why they asked me to be on the step team. But I knew how to do the moonwalk by the time I was 5. And I know basically every single one of his songs front to back. My dad makes a joke because I know when every single I'll do the sound for you just so it doesn't sound weird coming out of nowhere, but all the I know all of those, like where they stand in each every single song. Yeah, who else? Let me think. I would definitely say that, yeah, obviously my dad. I would definitely say my dad's definitely an influence. Stylistically, probably Casey Neistat on YouTube. I think it's kind of obvious. And I would also say Tim Schmoyer. He runs video creators. He's really good at telling stories, and I've been kind of picking stuff from him. Let's see, who else influenced me. That's a really good question. I should have prepped for this.
The reason why I don't like to send people the show notes is because it's all about
too rehearsed. Yeah.
I appreciated that you broke a lot of stereotypes there, because you were a really good Catholic white kid, and then you're dancing and doing all this stuff. Like, that's helping bring like cred to us. So I really appreciate that. I hope there's more kids that start doing that.
So it's funny you say that. So whenever I give talks, and this might probably ban me from giving a talk ever again if they listen to this, but whenever Anna and I give a talk, even by myself, we kind of like to start with some like interesting facts about us. And like, my wife was in mariachi for 7 years, and she like talks about this and da 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 da.
Oh, your wife's a Latina as well? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, she's my Mexicana mama. She is. Yeah. And so then I come up with, and I stand up there and I say, and I used to be a professional competitive hip hop dancer. And I take a
and
pause.
Everyone laughs.
Yes, and I hear a bunch of giggles, and even when it's like young adults, they laugh, and I'm like, okay, who here actually believed that? Raise your hand. And like 3 people maybe raise their hand, and then I say, okay, who here didn't believe that? And like, the rest of like the 97% raise their hands. And I'm like, that's because y'all are racists. Just because I'm a white guy, a little chubby, doesn't mean I don't know how to dance.
Nice.
And like, they're not expecting that at all. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Do you bust out then? Do the Michael Jackson leg whip? And
no, because I'm not a monkey. I don't dance when people tell me to.
Right.
Growing up, when I was a youth minister, the kids were always like, Daniel, dance. And I'm like, I'm not your monkey. My favorite thing to yell at.
That's awesome. Another question that we had was, you've seen this on all the YouTube algorithms and everything right now, is that, and you guys, like you said, you have like 8,000 subscribers, and you've had videos that are in the thousands, and then you've had some that drop less. What are your thoughts and feelings? Like, what's the frustrating thing about YouTube right now?
Yeah.
Is that it?
So we actually completely took monetization off our channel.
Okay.
We took all ads off, partly because whenever you have the 50 Shades of Grey newish trailer be an ad on your channel, it's like, I need to do something else. Or like when Trojan was on our thing, I was like, what the what?
Oh yeah. Like,
I was like, yeah, it's time. Well, because the thing is,
that's when the other Catholics come in. Like, what is your channel? You're having all this Trojan stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, our video on NFP and like a condom commercial.
Oh my gosh. So funny.
I don't know if that actually happened, but that's probably kind of funny.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Well, and like, since we're not in the Google preferred, like since essentially we don't have like 10 million subscribers, we don't get to pick what's the word? What advertisements are on our channel.
Okay.
So we thought, and plus it was just like, we were making like any money off of them. There was like, it just kind of was more of an hindrance of people having to like sit through the 30-minute ad roll for 30-second, not 30-minute, 30-second ad roll for literally nothing. And like, there's for no reason.
Yeah.
So we took it off, and it was honestly a really good move of ours, because we also want to partner with other Catholic brands, ministries, and companies and all that, and let them essentially like get that, like have them be the ads. Like if they want to get their eyes, like get their stuff in front of some eyeballs, we will gladly help people with that. And but yeah, I mean, but the one thing that I would say that's been most frustrating for our specific channel has been the not the demonetization, but like essentially like us getting flagged, basically because of the religious content that we do.
Okay.
Yeah, like not like it's not as if it gets like flagged or like taken down, but there's just like, we kind of have like a mark on our, like it basically it's demonetized even though we're not monetized. Like basically like it just gets tagged like this is something that isn't necessarily advertiser friendly. And we're like, are you joking me? Just because we say things about Catholicism, like the algorithm is so like not a human that it just takes whatever might be religious as something that needs to be flagged.
It's site wide, platform wide right now. I mean, you see so many we're just, I mean, look at what's his name? Oh man, his name is escaping me. blah. But anyway, yeah.
Philip DeFranco.
Philip DeFranco, right? He talks about it a
Yeah.
lot, you know, and
Yeah.
just kind of what's going on. I mean, you know, YouTubers want to use that platform. That's like their home, and YouTube's
Yeah.
not very friendly right now. But speaking of YouTube, what's something you wish you knew before going? Like you have all the wisdom and all the knowledge right now. What's something you wish you knew before going full YouTube, full Patreon, crowdsource?
I wish I knew that there was a online video agency known as Donut Shop Media to help me with my. I'm just kidding.
No, I like it.
Yeah. I would honestly say that if I knew how to. Okay, let's go YouTube, Patreon, and then let's just go with those two.
Yeah.
So what I wish I knew before starting a YouTube channel, I specifically knew. I wish I knew like what were the correct things to do to optimize our channel. So I mean, like really, what was our target audience? What kind of stories do we want to tell? What does our channel theme? What should that look like? What kind of style do I want to edit in? Kind of like all of like the abstract like marketing / like style. Like I really wish I knew exactly what we wanted to do, because if we could have come out swinging the way that we do now, I feel like it'd have been a much better release. But I'm also proud and like happy kind of the way that we've evolved.
Sure.
But yeah, something with Patreon. Okay, so I'll kind of give you a little like peek behind the curtain. So like I actually know people at Patreon, and they've been working with us on our relaunch. And they are such a good platform that I wish people understood that they can just reach out to Patreon and talk to them about best practices. Because I have seen so many, and I'll actually, this is what I'll do. I'm going to go look at y'all's and I'll give you feedback. Yeah. Because there's been like 4 or 5 other Catholic people that have created a Patreon page that are doing the literal opposite of what it is. Right. So Patreon isn't actually necessarily a crowdsourcing platform anymore. It's a membership platform.
Right.
And like it allows you to get so much more of an interaction with people that like really want it, that if you do it right, could really change your life.
Sure.
So yeah, that's what I wish I knew.
Awesome.
You were talking about earlier the Catholic community wanting to, they should be working better together, especially in media. Can you tell us and shout out some people that you think are doing a great job in this Catholic community, as in social media and YouTube?
Yeah, I'll tell you my 2 favorite ones at the moment. So I have gotten into Kevin Connor. He is a YouTuber that has like 300 subscribers. He is a part of the Catholic YouTube community, and like I love his styles, his editing style. It's very storytelling. It's very, he's a youth minister. So like, he's very honest of like, I'm literally just sharing my life with you. I think it's just Kevin Connor Vlogs. I think that's what his name is. And then my other favorite one right now is Eden Invitation. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No.
They are doing LGBTQIA plus ministry, and they're doing it through blogs, and they're starting a YouTube channel, they're starting a podcast, and they're doing a lot of good things. And yeah, they're, when it comes to like the whole like same-sex attraction, like how do we deal with that as a Catholic church? It's kind of like the Wild West.
Yeah.
And I feel as if they are doing what we're supposed to be doing. And they do it really, really well. And they're really freaking smart. They're so smart. Let me think. Bad Catholic Dads, love the podcast. Let's see. Yeah. Well, and I will say that I think my new favorite podcast has become The Crunch. Not that I don't love you guys, but specifically because we've gotten to know Ethan and Pat like personally, that it's really cool to kind of see what they're trying to do with this podcast.
Yeah, awesome. Is there any good follows that you can think of, like on Twitter or Instagram as a Catholic?
Always Tommy T, always Steve Missionary. Tea with Tolkien has become one of my favorite ones to go to.
Interesting. Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
She does this. I mean, essentially, it's just like I don't know if it's I only follow her on Twitter. I don't know what Tea with Tolkien is. If it's like a blog or a book or something, I follow her on Twitter and I think it's amazing. Yeah, there was a couple of other ones that I saw.
That's a good list so far.
Yeah.
Solid list, I would say. Solid.
Oh, recently Riley, let's see, because she wrote about us. This was pretty cool. So Riley, oh, what's her name? Oh my goodness. I forgot it. McLaughlin or something. She did a senior capstone on her converting because of Catholic media and converting to Catholicism. And we were the first YouTube channel that she talked about. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Dude, that's awesome.
Riley Cosgrove. There we go.
That's awesome. When you see your ministry actually affecting people in that way, I mean, that's your main mission, to have that transformation in people's lives. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. So I'll give her a shout out.
All right. We are kind of running low on time here. So I definitely pulled some questions from some listeners. They're more kind of hot fire questions here.
Let's do it.
What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie actually is That Thing You Do. It's an old Tom Hanks
God
movie.
bless you, man. That is a great movie.
I freaking love that movie.
Can you believe and I can't even believe this myself. I didn't watch it till like a year ago. And I was like, wow.
You went through your high school time without that kind of a background?
Went through all of that without. But hey, I'm here and it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so many great quotes in that one. That's a great pick.
And Iron Man, obviously, but that's been my superhero for my life. So
yeah. What do you like to do in your spare time, if you have any spare time in your life?
Cook. Yeah, so true. I love cooking. We've done a couple of videos on it, and it's just my dad taught me everything that he learned from his mother, and I've learned so much from my grandmother as well. That man, cooking is it heals my soul. It's so good.
Yeah, love it. Oh, here's a good question. Best thing about your wife?
Okay, I wanted to say her ass, but I'll say.
You can't say that on this podcast.
Sorry, my bad. You can bleep it out. You can bleep it out. Yeah, but I'm not gonna objectify my wife like that.
Yeah, sure.
I would definitely say her empathy. Her empathy and like her ache to like be holy. Like the fact that there's so much I could say, but like I've seen her like physically hurt and cry because she doesn't feel close to Christ. Like I've like literally seen her notice that she's falling away, or like, well, I say fall away. Like, yeah, honestly, her ache to be holy and her empathy.
Awesome. Craziest thing your kid's done.
So it was, I don't know if this is the craziest, but it's definitely one of the funniest.
Yeah, they pile up, the crazy things your kids do, but
yeah. She when I got a job at a Catholic student center, my wife and obviously my kid came to mass, and literally you can't make this up, as the priest was elevating the Eucharist, my wife, that'd been even funnier, my daughter goes so much that the priest had to stop because he was laughing so hard.
Wait, raspberries or actual?
No, she farted.
Oh my gosh.
It was so
wow.
like everyone stopped because it was so funny.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh, if you didn't do YouTube, including Donor Shop Media, what would you be doing?
I would either be a sous chef, or I tell my wife this all the time, that if I could go back in time, I would major in stunt driving.
Stunt driving.
I drive really well. Well, my wife probably differs, but like I'm a better driver backwards than I am forwards. I love driving. I love traveling. I love cars. Not necessarily like I'm not like a gearhead or like a metalhead or anything like that, but like I love driving. Or I honestly would be a professional video editor.
Nice.
Like outside of YouTube.
A quick take. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about when you did youth ministry?
Ooh,
nice.
Favorite thing, this is probably every youth minister's, but is really seeing the conversion, like seeing these teens really for the first time or the 13th millionth time, like come face to face with Christ and like understand he's real and understand that he loves them. And the worst part is the parents. Straight up.
Yes, I think that's the same thing with teaching, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'll say that. These are kind of quick fire questions. Favorite saint and favorite Bible verse, so we can get those two out of the way.
Deal. John 6:66 is my favorite Bible verse because it is hella challenging and I love it.
For those who don't know, what's that one?
That is when he turns to the disciples after the Sermon on the Mount, and he's like, so like after preaching on like not necessarily the Eucharistic discord, but like basically saying like you're going to eat my body and drink my blood, and he turns to the disciples and he's like, "Are you going to do it?" And then everybody left. Like that's the 666 is like all the disciples left.
That is just so like weird that that's the verse number. You know, that's the funniest thing.
So true.
Favorite saint?
Favorite saint, the cliches as Saint Michael the Archangel and Saint Joseph.
Mm-hmm. The question, why Marvel?
Because DC sucks.
Ooh.
Now, I will say, when it comes to comic books within the past 5 to 7 years, DC has trumped Marvel all the time. But if we're talking MCU, like there's no comparison.
Sure.
But growing up, I will say like freaking Civil War, the comic book story arc, just that sealed the deal for me. The first one.
Without spoiling, did you cry for an Infinity War?
No, because I kind of prepped myself for something like that to happen. I was hoping it was going to happen.
Okay, cool.
Without spoiling, what do you think of the whole movie?
I think it was a phenomenal movie. I think that there obviously were some flaws, but you can definitely tell that it was a part one.
Sure. And I'd be remiss, last question, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, but will the Pacers ever win the championship?
I'm going to say yes, because if we're talking forever, hopefully yes. Within the next couple of years, if we can move a couple of things, here's what I'm thinking. If we can get Oladipo to play point, I think he'd be phenomenal. And if we can bring on some sort of like stretch 4 to complement Miles, if Miles ends up learning how to rebound, and we keep somebody like Thad, who is like just a sleeper defender and is just like the role playing McGee out of all of them, and we like develop Sabonis, and let's see,
and LeBron has to retire, and you know all that.
Right? Very true. I mean,
LeBron has to get out of the
steamrolled.
Oh,
yeah,
goodness, it's crazy watching that guy. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. Daniel, thank you so much
for
being on. We got to do this again. Truly,
absolutely.
Plug your stuff. What you got going on? Your YouTube, Patreon, and of course, you got to plug Donut Shop Media.
Absolutely. So let's go down the gauntlet. Twitter, follow me at @D_Glaze for Instagram as well. You can see me and my wife, our beautiful faces at youtube.com/thatcatholiccouple. Please go over to thedonutsquad.com to help us out with revamping our entire life for our Patreon. And then also go check out my new video my new video agency, donutshopmedia.com, SHOPPE.
Thank you so much. And Daniel, thank you so much again for being here, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Daniel, thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Can you title this one That Catholic Dads?
That Catholic Dads? Oh, you got it. You got it.
I love it.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you later.
Our prayers too.
Yes. Yes.
What was that?
Everything in our prayers.
Yep.
Oh, thank you very much.
For you guys and the success of your endeavors.
Thank you.
All right. God bless.
God bless, guys.
Derek, what do you think of the podcast?
That was good. Love it.
What do you think of Daniel?
He's awesome. I love him.
Have you seen?
I've seen a few of his. Yeah. I did it. When I saw that when we were looking earlier on about like just different ideas for Bad Catholic Dads, you know, you're looking through the Catholic community and you see, you know, his stuff. And so it was good. And then I watched like some of the, just recently this week, some of their newer stuff. Cause I know that they had that move and he shaved a lot of his beard off and all that stuff. So yeah, no, I like the tone of his voice. I do
definitely got like that YouTube. He's got a voice for YouTube for sure.
Yes, for sure.
That's awesome. Daniel, again, if you're listening, listen to this one back. What did he say? That Catholic Dads? Is that what he said?
Yeah. What was it?
That Catholic Dad. That Catholic Dad.
Yeah.
Well, I'll email him again. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 53 of the Bad Catholic Dads. 53 of the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. Shout outs, prayers, requests, and listener reviews. I have a really big prayer, if you can. I'm not even against the details, but please pray for my aunt, her family. I mean, Derek knows what's happening, but nothing very good is happening right now. Basically, she's very sick and needs your prayers. So please pray for her and her family. if you can. Thank you. Any prayers, shout outs, Derek?
No, just to all those we were talking about this outside, just to all the moms coming up with Mother's Day approaching, you know, especially for the Blessed Mother who always keeps us in her care, and just for all those moms that have, you know, struggled through with like their husbands at times, and like, you know, with giving birth to kids. I mean, a shout out to our friend Kate, who is expecting twins any day now. And it's just like, man, my hat goes off to moms everywhere.
Yes. And please pray for this podcast as well. Continued success for this podcast. Definitely pray for everything that goes into this podcast. If you want to, you can leave us a review on iTunes. Again, it really does help the podcast out. We're trying to grow this thing so we can reach more dads, more Catholic dads, to be in community with us. Excuse me. And if you leave us a review, please leave us a 5-star review if you can. Definitely helps the podcast out. It helps it to be more visible to those who like search up, like if they're just searching like a Catholic podcast. So definitely leave us a listener review there. You can support us on Patreon. I gotta get. He said he would look at our Patreon. I gotta get him. I gotta see what he thinks about our Patreon.
I think he looked at it and he was going to criticize it and he couldn't. So
yeah, hey, there you go.
There you go.
We have our answer. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/badcatholicdads. You can follow the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All you have to do is just search up Bad Catholic Dads. And of course, you can follow me at John Perez. Follow Derek at the Derek Rogers.
Derek Rogers.
Derek Rogers. Hashtag Bad Catholic Dads. Hashtag BCD. Hashtag 40%. Derek, anything else before we go?
No, man. Just I want a donut so bad. Let's get it, the Krispy Kreme.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. God bless. All right, got it.
See, it reminded two questions that would have been fun. Is like one of my questions was going to be like, how many times a day does your wife roll her eyes at your antics? And then the other one was favorite donut place. That was going to be the other one. Because both of I want to know that Krispy Kreme is better than Dunkin' Donuts, just for my wife's and my sake.
Donuts is their place.
Yeah, she loves Dunkin' Donuts. She loves it. Yeah, we're gonna figure out this Google Hangouts video thing, you know?
Yeah,
or Facebook Live. One of those. I found I can do Facebook Live from my laptop, like to record.
Yeah, I've got to figure it out. I think what I've got to do is I've got to do like OBS or something, which is
I saw that I was looking it up too today just to see if like what
I don't know.
I think what's happening with my because I don't have a great laptop, I have this Chromebook, and I think it's just lagging the system down when I'm trying to do video and audio. So when I had the video off, the audio was actually working really well.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's usually how it works. But I wish we had video. You know, I think it would be.
No, that would have been
That's the goal. That's our goal. So
yeah. But it's like we have to figure out which platform, I guess, would be the easiest, especially for you to do with. I mean, because you're already pulling the audio out, so the audio isn't really important, right? For the video, right? You're not going to be
care of. We're good on audio. It's just
using a video provider that
can have the quality.
What did you think of your initial Facebook Live versus Google Hangouts when you were using it?